Welcome back. I'm on a bit of a kettlebell kick right now, so what I want to share with you today is the most basic kettlebell movement, and that is the kettlebell swing. But before we get started, we're going to do a couple body weight movements that are going to lead us into that kettlebell swing. So the first is going to be a good morning. We're going to do this with, again, no weight. You can just have your feet right under your hips and go ahead and put your hands on the small of your back. Now peel those elbows and those shoulders back so you can really feel your chest coming through the shoulders, and you should feel engaged from your shoulders to your hips. Now from here, we have a dip in the hips and knees, and I'm really just pushing my hips back. I should feel this big stretch here in my hamstrings. My chest is up, my shoulders are staying above my hips, so what I mean is that I'm not bending over. And all the way up. Dip in the hips and knees, push your hips back, feel that engagement, and all the way up. Now let's do this 3 more times, just as is. So pushing those hips back, coming up center, everything is fully extended, everything is locked out. Now let's get this kind of feeding us into the kettlebell swing. Once we hinge over, as you're coming up, I really want you to focus on squeezing your quads and your glutes. And it should feel a little bit like a popping motion. So we're hinging forward, pop. Hinging forward, pop. So really focus on squeezing your glutes and your quads as fast as you can. Now, the next thing I want to do is a no kettlebell swing. So put your feet out into your squat stance, and you're just going to have your hands stacked on top of each other. We're going to do a good morning, but kind of in our squat width stance. Dip in the hips and knees, and I'm pushing my hips back. And I am only reaching forward through my chest until I feel my wrist hit my inner thighs. This is the bottom position of a kettlebell. Take note of a few things. The first, my shins are perpendicular to the floor, and my knees are right on top of my ankles. This is not a squat. And go ahead and come up, let those arms float up. Let's go back down. The next, my shoulders are still above my hips, so I'm not bending forward. That kettlebell is not pulling me down towards the floor. Go ahead and come up, arms float up, back down. And I feel this in my hamstrings. My knees are out tracking my toes, and the primary mover of this movement is the hips. So as I'm going back and forth through this no kettlebell swing, take note that my hips are swinging forward and back, forward and back. The kettlebell swing is not a squat. You should not be moving up and down in the kettlebell swing at all. So not only is the kettlebell swinging back and forth, your hips are swinging back and forth. So let's try with weight. As far as weight goes, ladies, when you first start out, men, when you first start out, do not use less than 15. Ladies, 25, men. If you're using less than that, you're going to resort to using your arms for the swing, and you need to be really focusing on using your hips. Your arms in this movement should just be ropes that are attached to the kettlebell. They are not helping pull the kettlebell up at all. They are ropes. They are pointless. They're only attaching your body to the kettlebell. So the kettlebell is going to start out in front of you. I want you to stand about 1 to 1.5 feet away from your kettlebell. We're going to set up just like our good morning. So we're going to dip in the hips and knees. I am pushing my hips back, and I am just reaching forward for my kettlebell. So my hips are already loaded, my back is engaged, my whole posterior chain is engaged. The kettlebell is going to drag across the floor until I bring it to my thighs, wrist to thigh. And then just like we practiced with the good morning, I'm locking out my knees as fast as I can and really squeezing my glutes and my quads here at the top. So you can see how the kettlebell looks weightless for a period of time here, and that's what it should feel like. I am not pulling this up with my shoulders or with my arms at all. The kettlebell is moving purely because of my hips. So that is your basic kettlebell swing. Hope you enjoy it. It's one of my favorite movements, and I'll see you next time.